Hi everyone, I'm Catherine from Peace Etc. and I guide people who grew up in mentally and emotionally unstable homes to become safe and secure in themselves and improve their self-esteem and self-worth through inner child healing. So I'm sharing with you guys today an incident that happened in my childhood that shaped the way I was for a very long time, and a moment that really marked the beginning of living with conditions and living as my conditioned self. And the moment I began creating selves in order to feel a sense of worth and value. So this happened when I was about 7 or 8. I was standing in my living room by the curtains, and my parents were fighting. My dad was in the living room and he was shouting, and my mom was in the kitchen. There were some laundry up in the laundry rack, which we had in our kitchen. And I remember the argument became so heated where they started yelling at each other and they started throwing hangers and laundry, like not directed at each other, but in the general direction. And it was scary. They were arguing about my birthday or something related to me. And the argument got so heated to a point where my mom began crying. My mom doesn't really show her emotions, and she's not very vulnerable in front of us, openly vulnerable. So it's the first time I remember ever seeing my mom cry. And I was just stunned. Like literally, I went into freeze mode. I remember my body just shutting down. And I thought, oh, they're fighting because of me. It's because of me. And if I didn't exist, then they wouldn't be having this argument. I'm not worthy. I'm worthless. I don't deserve to be here. If I wasn't alive, then my mom wouldn't be crying right now. My mom wouldn't be in distress. So I immediately went in between them, and after they finished throwing, I went there to make sure that my mom was okay and to comfort her, be there for her emotionally and give her a hug, even though she's not a hug person. And she was apologizing to me and she was telling me how sorry she is. But even years later, I remember it being such a scary experience and an experience where I felt so helpless. And that marked the moment of me being my mother's mother, emotionally and mentally. I began parenting or becoming a parent for my mom, putting my feelings aside, my needs aside, to make sure that my mom was emotionally and mentally nurtured and taken care of, sacrificing myself, even in moments that I was hurt by her or that I wasn't available, where I had very low energy. I would be there for my mom because I took that upon myself. I said, okay, well, as that young child, as that 8-year-old, I said, okay, well, if I'm not going to be there for her, who is? Because my dad was clearly not being there for her and being nurturing. So I have to do that for her. I later on learned to parent my dad as well, but that was a significant moment because, yes, I learned to be a parent for my mother, a mother for my mother. And also, whenever anyone close to me would experience emotional distress, whenever they're stressed out or mentally not there, I shut down. My nervous system would shut down, and I would mobilize myself and get ready to be there for that person, regardless of what was happening within me. It became an automatic response or reaction that I would do to seeing anyone that I cared for or anyone close to me that I was attached to be there for them. And it took years to find out that that was a nervous system dysregulation and dysregulated nervous system response. I didn't know that as a child, I didn't know that she would be able to take care of herself. And that also marked the moment where I began suppressing my feelings, suppressing certain emotions. If my mom or people that I loved or were attached to, were going through stress, seemed emotionally and mentally unavailable, then even if I was feeling sad or like heavier emotions, like whatever emotions I deemed was too much and that would be a burden to the other person, I would suppress. I would shut those down and push those to places that I wouldn't be able to reach and pretend that I was okay so that I can be there for them and I could show them love. And I thought that was what I needed to do in order to receive love from them, in order to be accepted by them, in order to gain a sense of safety and security. In that moment as a child, I was so scared. And what I knew to do was to shut down, or what came instinctively to do was to shut down and face the conflict that they were going through and to be there for my mom. That's how I became safe in myself. And also tried to understand the situation and what was happening. Even though I needed comforting first and foremost, I needed comforting as a child. And my mom was doing that by saying how sorry she was. And I think my dad too tried to make me comforted. But that came in I don't know the order that came in, but in my head, the most important thing was that my mom felt safe. And that made me feel safe. And that really colored the way I gained safety or experienced safety with other people and the way I gained safety from that moment on. I'll be talking more about how I suppressed emotions and how I became reunited and reconnected with my feelings and emotions and open up to feel them again. But this was such a important moment in my life, in my childhood, that shaped the way I was for a very long time, shaped my conditioned self. And I wanted to share this with you all. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for being here and hearing my story, listening to my story. And I'm wishing you all the best on your inner child healing journey.